Chapter 1. A psychological power called resistance restricts our undertakings and influences us. Have you at any point had an aspiring dream, however, failed to follow up on it? Maybe you needed to compose a fantastic song or start a business venture, yet a specific feeling kept you down. That feeling is called resistance, the force that shields us from accomplishing our fantasies and achieving what we are intended to do. It is natural for our bodies to resist anything new in our routines. Resistance is negative and generally opposes change or anything new. For instance, if you want to apply for a graduate course, resistance will be the force that urges you to stick with your current degree and not go out on a limb on an undertaking that you might not complete. If you want to start going to the gym, resistance will be the voice that lets you know it's not necessary to go to a gym. You can just do squats at home when you feel like it. The feeling of resistance is expected. It's indifferent and universal, and it affects all of us. Resistance, additionally, doesn't specify interests. You'll feel resistance if you want to accomplish something for yourself, like starting a new business, or something to help other people, like volunteering. You must acknowledge that resistance is natural, so quit feeling that it is targeting only you. Resistance even influences individuals who are experienced at what they do. For example, singer Lorde often gets severe stage fright before her shows. Being a famous singer doesn't prevent her from becoming overwhelmed by feelings each time she performs. Rule of thumb: the more important a call or action is to our soul's evolution, the more resistance we will feel toward pursuing it. Stephen Pressfield. Resistance can pop up in several ways. For example, the fear of disappointment, procrastination, and self-doubt. In the following sections of this summary, you will discover how to overcome resistance by staying true to your specialty and refocusing your fantasies. You will also learn to accept resistance as a standard and vital part of your journey. Chapter 2. Resistance prevents us from becoming who we are intended to be, but we should learn to use it to our advantage. Is there something in life you believe you were intended to do? Maybe you want to sculpt animals or do interior decoration. That is your reason for living, the most incredible passion that fulfills your spirit's yearning. Everyone has two separate lives, our lived lives and our unlived lives. We all have undiscovered dreams. For what reason would you say you trust that your future will not move in the direction of your dreams? Maybe you're just scared or doubting yourself. Two types of resistance that keep you from achieving your goals. For instance, if your dream is to be a singer, you'll feel fear, possibly a fear of rejection by record labels or of not having fans. That fear may prevent you from attempting to sing. Rather than giving resistance a chance to stop you, use it for your benefit. It's okay to feel self-doubt and fear. These feelings imply that you care about your dream. You wouldn't fear coming up short at something that you didn't love. Fear can be a decent sign that your dream is sufficiently important to pursue. Indeed, even successful people still feel dread. This is shown by an opinion regularly expressed by Hollywood actors. The host of Inside the Actor's Studio regularly asks visitors why they accept specific roles. Numerous professionals answer that they choose parts they're apprehensive about. They recognize that fear shows they are passionate about those roles, so they should seek them. Like these professionals, you can utilize fear to persuade yourself by trying not to be constrained by fear and self-question. Instead, see these feelings as tools to enable you to push yourself toward the dreams that mean the most to you. Chapter 3. You need to be a professional to battle resistance. How are you seeking your dream? Do you try to chip away at it for a couple of minutes once in a while? This is a significant error. Instead, try to view yourself continually taking a shot at it, immersed in it, like a full-time job. Even if you have a regular job, you can be very innovative in spending time on your dream. For instance, Quentin Tarantino worked in a video rental store because he couldn't go to a film school. He watched films at work and utilized his spare time to coordinate small projects. When a fire destroyed one of his projects, he understood that although he never got the opportunity to complete the film, the project still had shown him more than any film school class could have. An individual like Tarantino, who is devoted and does not surrender because of misfortune, is a professional. His responsibility to his craft demonstrates it. You can likewise transfer skills from your regular workday job to your dream, even if they differ. Are you always punctual to work? Do you complete tasks before due dates? You most likely do. The self-discipline skills that you sharpen at work can be applied as well to your dream. This is a vital truth about professionals. They don't lounge around waiting for motivation, but instead work hard daily. Like your standard job, working all day toward your dream won't be fun all the time. However, you have probably learned how to work even when it is boring, so utilize that ability toward your dream. Consider author Somerset Maugham, who was once asked whether he wrote based on a timeline. "I write only when motivation strikes," he answered. Luckily, it strikes every morning at 9 sharp. Chapter 4. Knowing yourself and your trade makes you an expert. Being fearful and questioning yourself now and then is normal. We can't ultimately make these negative feelings vanish. Instead, we must figure out how to battle them constantly. You can do this most effectively by knowing yourself and realizing your calling. You must recognize your limitations to learn about yourself. As a professional, you shouldn't hope to do everything without contributions from anyone else. Surround yourself with available experts so when you become familiar with your limitations, you'll know when you need to work with them. For instance, Terry Gilliam, a well-known director, also has many solo projects. He once offered this excellent filmmaking advice to upcoming Quentin Tarantino. Being a decent director doesn't mean doing everything yourself, but realizing when to assign power to other skilled individuals, like producers, directors, or actors. An incredible director must know his limit in his craft to know which areas would profit the most from the help of others. A successful professional additionally realizes when to request help. Learning how to request direction can assist you in building up your craft, which you ought to do constantly. For instance, Tiger Woods still had a coach even at the peak of his golfing career when he was viewed as the best golfer on the planet. Are you paralyzed with fear? That's a good sign. Fear is good. Like self-doubt, fear is an indicator. Fear tells us what we have to do. Remember one rule of thumb. The more scared we are of a work or calling, the more sure we can be that we have to do it. Stephen Pressfield. Even if you are talented, you can always continue learning about your craft. Experts have figured out how to ace this procedure of continuous learning. Think about Madonna. She has managed to have a long-lasting career in pop music because she's always working at reinventing her picture with the goal that her performances or songs are never predictable or boring. Even though Madonna is thought to be one of the best pop stars alive, she knows that being a professional means constantly learning what you do. Chapter 5. A competent person overcomes resistance by being persistent, organized, and boldly confronting misfortune. Suppose your dream is to produce a movie, and you build up the self-discipline to take a seat and write plots each day. Before long, you'll understand that resistance doesn't quickly leave. It might even increase as you continue writing, making you question your interests even more. But to be a professional, you have to defeat resistance by being persistent and organized. The author John Updike exemplified this well in his procedure for writing. He wrote daily but focused entirely on pacing himself evenly through the writing procedure. He didn't set implausible objectives like speed writing a novel in 7 days. Like Updike, try to concentrate on your work process instead of just envisioning the final product. Focusing on the procedure as opposed to trying to accomplish the objective quickly will help overcome resistance. It's all right if the process is slow, as that is typical. You should be persistent if you want the best outcomes. Rather than stopping when you face an issue, train yourself to see new difficulties as things to defeat to achieve your objective. As a significant aspect of concentrating on the procedure, you must also figure out how to acknowledge that you'll generally confront difficulty en route. Oprah Winfrey is an incredible example of a professional who has defeated problems. At the beginning of her profession, most individuals didn't expect a Black woman's talk show to gain traction as white men ruled the field. She also wanted to do an uncommon thing, concentrate on her guests' emotions and personal lives. But Oprah stayed devoted to her vision. A few months after starting, her show became the most watched morning show in America and exposed many undiscussed issues like bullying and obesity. Rather than throwing in the towel due to criticism, Oprah utilized it as an inspiration to work more diligently, as a genuine professional would. Did you know? In 1972, Oprah Winfrey was crowned Miss Black Tennessee. Chapter 6. Experts fight against hierarchies to accomplish their objectives. Whether in the work environment, in college, on Wall Street, or even in Hollywood, everyone has faced the structure of social hierarchies at one point in their lives. Chains of command exist everywhere. The one thing hierarchies share is that they generally restrict change, dictating a fixed spot for each individual in the chain. Most of us define ourselves in and are characterized by hierarchies in our lives, and this is very prohibitive. For instance, numerous individuals struggle in working environments that contradict giving a creative opportunity to staff. In such conditions, free thinking isn't allowed. The work hierarchy instead assigns a specific role to everyone. When we're working inside a hierarchy system, we're bound to control our actions by predicting the wants of the customers or audience. We're forced to assess our success by our place in the hierarchy, so we try everything possible to climb it. Hierarchy urges us to not see other individuals as people, but as a way to accomplish our goals. Experts don't characterize themselves by their place in a hierarchy. They resist it by staying consistent with their craft and working for themselves instead of pleasing others. For example, Steve Jobs was an exceptional professional, was a famous perfectionist and steadfast believer in his vision. He insisted on choosing everything about his products, from their structure to how clients interact with them. He created the successful consumer electronics organization, Apple, by attempting to understand his vision instead of thinking about what others may like. Another good example is the German writer Rainer Maria Rilke, who once told a young artist to ignore the critics and write to satisfy himself. He talked about a vital truth concerning professionals. Your work will be better if your goal is to be proud of it. Chapter 7. Competent individuals concede to a specific territory where their work will accomplish their objective. We all have our own specific calling, be it music, writing, or dance. Thus, a territory is a place where professionals take a shot at their calling. For instance, for previous Mr. Universe Arnold Schwarzenegger, politician, actor, and bodybuilder, the gym was his territory. So, how would you know where your territory is? First, your territory is the place you feel sustenance. Here you feel fulfilled and challenged, as though you are improving yourself when you invest energy and work there. Our territories as professionals provide us sustenance without any external input. Second, your territory is the spot you make a case for through hard work. Many other people also utilized the gym, yet Schwarzenegger made it his own by working out for quite a while each day. Third, your territory is an endless asset. The amount of work you put in will determine how much your territory can give back to you. Think about Woody Allen, whose territory isn't physical like Schwarzenegger's. Instead, it's film. Allen has directed almost 50 movies, and he has written more than 70 screenplays. By putting hard work in his territory, he has gotten an ever-increasing number of chances to be creative and could work more in his territory and even grow in it. Like Woody Allen, you can use dedication and hard work to claim your territory. Experts who effectively focus on their territory don't just profit themselves, they additionally change the field in which they work. For instance, entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates in the computing territory changed the computer world. PCs went from being costly, complex machines to easy-to-use instruments that anyone can buy and use. Conclusion: it doesn't matter if your creative goal is business-oriented, like building a startup, or artistic, like singing. You will need to confront your opposing forces against your creativity. Vanquishing these forces is essential to accomplishing your highest objectives. You can do this by recognizing these forces of resistance and then defeating them through determination and hard work. Even though everybody needs to confront the opposing force of resistance, positive energies can assist us. Muses are one such positive power. In Greek author Homer's epic poem, The Odyssey, he writes that 9 goddesses called the Muses inspire ideas and creativity in artists by bringing ideas to help committed artists overcome resistance. Homer himself called upon them to have the ability to recount the 10-year struggle of Odysseus on his way home after the Trojan War. We also need to conjure our muses to take advantage of forces and defeat resistance. The best way to do this is through hard work and devotion. Hard work will also make you progressively open to other positive forces beyond your ability to enable you to conquer resistance. One case of this is Plato's portrayal of madness. This madness resembles supercharged imagination. The craftsman is entirely controlled by the object of her creation and her craft. This force shakes the craftsman free of her daily habits, thus helping her abandon resistance. Try this. Think about fear as a marker that you're in good shape with your project and continue pushing on. Force yourself to look for lessons and opportunities in mishaps and hurdles. If you want to succeed, focus on the details, from conceiving an idea to carrying it out. Cover every tiny detail yourself.